Alan here, the Urban Arcade, and this is my Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Random Stories. Well, that was a mouthful. Well, here goes. Now I'm going to take you back to a time when I first played this game. It was in an arcade in North London called Vegas. Now, I'd heard of Street Fighter. I saw it and thought maybe this was like an interactive cartoon, a cartoon that you played about with. That's how I saw it. Going down the stairs of this arcade that is still around today, I noticed this cabinet. Street Fighter 2. Funny enough, where Street Fighter 4 is was the exact location to Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition. And where this cabinet is here was where Street Fighter 2 World Warrior was. Yes, that's the first time I ever got to play the game. And in the chip shop I played Rainbow Edition. At this time it was already the talk of the town and many conversations over lunchtime at school. So you couldn't escape its popularity. And I played it. And I wasn't really good, but I saw people playing it well. And I thought they're fighting around the world with mixed martial artists from every kind. And then I tried playing it, and as you can imagine, the first time you play it, you don't know what you're doing. Throwing random kicks and punches till the point where you finally throw a Hadouken. It's a big event, it's a special move, like the first time you ever pulled off a fatality. Maybe not as big as that, but you know what I mean. And this was in an arcade, where it all started. So I got to play it at the time in these popular arcades where you used money to play it. If you wanted to go, you'd put a coin in the machine and it would cost you a lot. Every time you inserted that coin, it meant something. As I got older, sure, I realised that those arcade cabinets were essentially a business. It was there to make money. That's what you were paying for. You left with nothing but a bit of satisfaction after playing a game that you enjoyed. And that's what it was. Until you got your own version. Your own home port of Street Fighter 2. It wasn't the arcade port, but it was perfect. Street Fighter 2 Turbo changed everything for me. I got home to see this thing, thinking, I have an arcade in my house. Now, I know it wasn't the arcade, but to me it felt like it. I was playing this game that cost us money. Something that had panic around it, because it was scary. You'd put that money in, and if you lost your money. And if you run out of money, you didn't get to play anymore. That panic was gone. It felt like that. Because I used to get a hot head if I won. Because that meant I get to continue on the arcade games. And there was people around. You could really show off. That was sort of lost in a way on the home ports. Understandably. Now this was a home console. We all played this together. My dad, my mum, brother and sister and all my friends. We always played this together. My dad got really into it. He would go into the arcades with us more. And up until recently, I managed to master Ryu. That's beating the game without losing one round on the hardest difficulty. Because I still play the game, I still enjoy it even up to this day. Not so long ago I found out when I was at school, my mum used to play it. She used to use it to get out frustration about certain things. So I picked her up a SNES Classic, along with one for myself, because she always used to like kicking Vega until his claws fell off. Something she found amusing. And after all this time later, she got to relive that again. And look how happy it made her. Again, it brought back those happy memories, playing a fighting game together. It's why I would say Street Fighter, in my mind, has a special place for me. Into nostalgia, and it's why I collect them now. The collection now has gotten a bit out of hand. If it has Street Fighter on it, and I see it, I'll buy it. But it makes me happy. Seeing something that you could pre-order in a shop, seeing Street Fighter still for sale. I have quite the collection now, and I do look through all of this stuff, and I do play them, and it makes me happy to see all the changes. But back in the day, owning the home ports, playing in arcades, I was always chasing an arcade perfect version of the game. What you saw, not necessarily entering a coin. If I could own one that you could enter a coin, an actual arcade machine, I would have been happy to. But I do have this smaller arcade machine. It's more fitting into where I live. But it was something I never thought we'd get. There was load times, they didn't feel the same, there were certain sound delays, it just wasn't arcade perfect. It felt it at the time, but yeah, I went through all of them and I thought we were never going to get an arcade perfect version of the game. Some collections were better than others, some did it better than others, some interfaces, some collections, but it was never quite there. We always had to compensate for something. Now I could see the differences on the arcade version versus the home port. The way Ryu walked back and forward. The same with Blanka. The same with most characters. There were frames that were missing from the home ports, and I noticed it. But like I said, the collections, you could get away with it looking like an arcade game. But look at this. The loading times were horrible, and even when it went to the PS2, there still existed loading times. It didn't need it. Because after that, when they brought out another collection, which was Capcom Classic Collection Volume 2, it didn't need loading times, as you can see. I started to think finally we were getting there. We were getting that one step closer to having an arcade perfect game. And the anniversary edition for back then is where I thought it would end. This gave me time to see the differences I longed for. To see the different arcade versions. To see how they changed. Different frames. I felt like I had a complete collection. You could select the World Warrior version of Ryu and the Super Turbo version of Ryu and see all the differences between them, because there were many. There were actual changes, and it was nice to see that. It was like a lot of people had gotten nostalgia hungry and wanted to play these games again, so these collections were relevant. They were coming out quite often, but then they stopped until years later and we got the HD remix. It was redrawn to current gen, to fit a 16:9 aspect ratio, to be HD, which was the thing at the time. You could change the graphics so the actual character sprites looked like the originals, but it wasn't the same, and it was digital. And then nothing followed for a long time. Fast forward quite a few years later, we have Street Fighter V. And now, they're starting to bring back the old stages, old characters, to make it feel like Street Fighter 2. For those nostalgia hungry fans that wanted to go back. But it's nice to see it imagined now. All these places we get to see in more detail, and that's really nice. In my book, that's one of the best things they did. I really enjoyed that because it didn't feel like a complete game at first. But something in the back of my mind, I still longed for the originals. I still longed for the arcade classics, the real arcade ports. Something I didn't think we'd ever get until Ultra Street Fighter 2 The Final Challengers come out. I got a Nintendo Switch just for this. And it was like HD remix, but again, you could change the graphics to the originals, and it was nice. And I thought that was it. I thought we were done. We're never going to get another collection, we're never going to get another Street Fighter 2. That is it. But what about a collection? Come on, everyone else is doing it, why can't they do this? Until one day, I was linked a video. I opened this video to think, what is this? DLC? And to thinking, oh my god. The reaction I gave to the trailer of this was the same that people do for like Infinity Wars. I was in shock. I was literally screaming at all the announcements, all the games that this was going to add. Online play, you name it. I jumped in the air. I was so excited. I haven't been this excited for years. Finally, I now own them and they are on physical media. Now I've got to be honest, that shocked me. Most collections come out as digital downloads. And here we are, Street Fighter, the 30th anniversary collection. We finally did it. To be honest, I looked up as much as I could about this game because I was nervous. I was thinking they were going to get it wrong. You start it with offline, online, museum and options. A few things were added afterwards, but we'll get on that. Now in options, you can change your controls. Now, it uses the touchpad for a start button, but there's a workaround, so don't worry. You can configure them to how you like anyway. Now, one of the things I liked most about Street Fighter was its artwork. There's history, characters, music, and the making of Street Fighter. So you could go through a timeline, and this was so good because I can remember where I was during most of it, or when these games come out. And I found out quite a lot of things I didn't know. I saw a lot of images I'd never seen, and I thought I saw everything. From promo pics to artwork, you name it, I thought I saw it, but no. This collection showed me more. And it was really nice to see, including scenes from the animated movie. It reminded me of the sticker books, the little art books that you'd get, and I would look at all the artwork in the instruction manual. And when you go to characters, you can read their bio, a bit of information about them, and you can even check up the sprites of each move, through the different generations of the characters themselves. Isn't that brilliant? For the times you would pause them to get a look at what they're doing, and now you can see them frame for frame. You can listen to all the music for all of the games. Something that took me back to when I used to play it on the SNES, and I would listen to all the music and all the endings, mainly Blanka and Honda's theme. They're my favourites. And music you didn't hear from the other collections, from the other games you got to try that you never got a chance to listen to. Because most of the time you listen to the music on these games were on the home ports of them, not the arcade ones. You wouldn't sit in an arcade listening to the music, would you? And you can look up the making of the games. It's a nice insight into how these characters were made and what they went through to put this game into a final product. It's what we play today. You can see the progression from what they started with to now. When you select offline, you've got an option of arcade, versus and training. These were patched in. So versus was like the home ports where you could play against each other. Training is something you'd expect on most of them, but it lets you play versus the ones that you're going to play online, which is fine. We have the collection, we have the games, the arcade games all here in all their glory to play whenever you want. Look at this, staring you right in the face. You've got them, they're yours. Street Fighter is back for everyone. To play the games you never played before, or didn't like. I mean, no one really heard of Street Fighter 1. It was like Street Fighter 2. What happened to Street Fighter 1? Obviously I played it. I played most of these through emulation over the years, but it's nice for people that never played them. And now, they're yours. Legitimately. They're your games. All here at your convenience without having to insert a coin, the arcade perfect versions, and I started going through all of them. Seeing all the differences. Seeing what they got right, what they got wrong, you know, what versions, because these are the first versions, first revisions of each game. They wanted to add them, and that includes the bugs the arcade ones had. But again, it's something that didn't bother me, because I like having arcade perfect versions. That's what it feels like. I wasted no time playing through as many of them as I can, and obviously I played it on the Switch first, funny enough. I played Street Fighter 2 High Turbo. I'm not going to call it Hyper Fighting, okay? Even though it's called that, and it'll always be called that, to me it's Turbo. So I played Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the Switch, then I played it on the PS4, and you get a trophy for it, which, again, I don't care about, but it's nice to be able to play them. You know, I went from Switch to PS4, I could take the Switch anywhere, and that's what was nice. I started watching all the intros. Some of them I haven't seen for years. Some of the memories, some of the music, things I forgot, were back. Because it's all here laid out in front of you. So you can just choose to play it. I'll be honest, I never really got into Third Strike. I was playing other games the time these were around, so it's nice that I'm able to play them. Made famous by Daigo. And I do have the online version of Third Strike. I've played it a bit, but people tend to play that, the really good players. They play that online. You'll never be able to beat many people playing it. It feels like a pro game. Stay away, especially for me. And you can change difficulties. Speeds, timers, essentially arcade dip switches. And you can view them, read a bit of information about the game itself, which again is nice. See the little artwork of each cabinet, and then you can select the game and go straight into it. You're in the game so instant, it's unreal. Look at this, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and it's nice. Arcade perfect, that's what it feels like. Yes. Is there any loading times? Is there any? Because I've seen them before. Ah, nothing. Oh god, this is brilliant. It sounds good and plays well. Let me look up the special moves, because I may be a bit rusty. You don't have to. They're here. No books needed. You can see all the moves here. And that's for all of the games as well. And just as quick as you enter the game, you can exit. It's so instantaneous. And choose another game to play. Bang, you're on it. And that's nice. It's something that you'll do. You can see all the differences. And with the screen itself, there's changes to be made. You can make it full, which normally you'd have black bars, 4.3 essentially. Or you can change that to having it wide. I don't know why you would like to, but some people want to fill that entire 4K screen they have playing this game. Nah, it doesn't look good. I don't like it anyway, and I don't know anyone that will play it like that. There's some people. You can change the filters so it looks like TV scan lines. The one I select mainly is the arcade one. It has a feel to it, something I like. Well, I guess it's CRT televisions. I mean, come on. Every screen we're going to have now is a flat screen HD TV, isn't it? So, yeah. And you can even turn the borders off if you don't want them on. Some people prefer not to have them and have them on a 4.3 aspect ratio, which again is fine. Whatever's your preference is something you can choose. I like having them borders there, and I like the original, so you see the little image on the inside. I like that, it surrounds it. Reminds me of an arcade cabinet. Again, your preference. Now, like I said before, I do own an arcade cabinet which I made myself, and I can play these games whenever I want. All of them. you name it, I can play them. And through emulation I've been able to for years. But this is nice to own a full collection on physical media that anyone can play. Not everyone dabbles in emulation, so this is the only way most people are going to play them. I mean, sometimes I just want to cut out the middleman with emulation. I just want it on one front end, so it's all made for me to play straight away. And this does it better. It does it better than most front ends do. I don't want to have to mess around. That's why I'm a console gamer, and I've always been. For convenience, I just want to put the disc in and play it, and that's what this is. Now, weirdly enough, a lot of people have picked this game up, mainly because they played Street Fighter 2 Turbo on the SNES back in the day, so they've got it for one game, and they get the rest to try out. Ones they may have heard of. Even me, I didn't play as many of them back then, but now this collection's laid out in front of me, I've started to get into playing them more. This has brought Street Fighter back again, to the new consoles, to Steam, to all the people that remembered it. You'll get a lot of arcade purists, but then you'll get a lot of people say, oh, I'd have a go on it on an arcade machine at a chip shop or a cafe, but mainly played it on home consoles, with friends or alone. But isn't it crazy though? The thing I dreamed about since back in the day, to own your own arcade perfect version of the game. Oi, it's not the arcade perfect version, it doesn't run the same, it's still emulated. Oh, shut up. This is brilliant. Well, it's the best we're ever going to get, and maybe the last full collection we'll ever get. Yep, that's it. All the classics in one physical disc. Or cartridge, if you're playing on the Switch. Well, you can't please everyone. It's literally the arcades in our homes. It's not like there's an arcade along every street corner. Not anymore anyway. This is the future of arcades, to be honest. And it has been for many years. You're still playing against strangers, and you're still paying a subscription fee to play it online. It doesn't feel the same, sure, but hey, we can't go back in time, can we? One of the things I always liked about playing the arcade was playing the arcade ladder itself. Not just versus friends, but to get to that final boss, to beat him. The character that was put there at the end of the game to stop you, to make you spend more. I couldn't get a double perfect this time round, but yeah, it was still satisfying. Always wanting to see endings, and it's always a privilege. I don't like watching them as videos, and I like to see them, and all the changes. You can literally see every change they've made throughout the years, how the artwork got better, and the music changed, everything changed, and you saw it evolve throughout all of those changes, and it's nice to see. Can you remember the first time you come across Akuma? Didn't it shock you? I heard about him, and if you were lucky enough to get through this game's AI, and play versus someone with even worse AI, yeah, you deserve the trophy for the end of that. Do you know what? Out of all the games, this was the hardest to get through. And I'm not just talking about the end boss. No, I'm talking about E Honda. Or anyone for that matter. It was relentless. It was so difficult. But do you remember the time when you finally managed to beat him? How difficult he was? He could destroy you. He was so cheap. But when you finally did it, you really felt like the boss, like the man. This game was made to stop you in your tracks. Anything you did. And when you finally put an end to him, yeah, you were a real champion. You deserve the pat on the back. And this has online. Now, as you can imagine, with most of them, it's full of rage quitters. There's a bit of lag to it at the moment, but you know, I play more better games than I do worse ones, and I mainly play ranked. You can play casual on this, but yeah, I tend to want to play ranked. You got something to lose. I'm never going to get a blue belt on this game. I'm never going to be the best on it because there's too many good players, but I've managed to reach yellow belt, and I've won at least 30 games now since making this video. So yeah, I enjoy it. It's good to play. But it's not a game changer for me. I didn't really care about playing online, and I've played a lot of decent players. And you'll get them games where you think you're going to get destroyed. You get beaten by literally everyone, and I lose more than I win, I've got to be honest. I come across a lot more tougher players, but I've done quite good. I've had quite a few comeback matches as well. But the rage quitters, it's crazy. Imagine doing that in the arcades back in the day. You lose and you just walk off. I'm sure many people did it. I think I've even seen people do it. They just walk off and leave their character to get beaten. Some people play cheap, sure, but hey, a win's a win. It doesn't really matter. If you're the one losing, you're not going to say that if you were the one winning using the same cheap tactics, are you? That's what people need to get used to. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Enjoy it. Since getting this, I've played versus people more on this than I have in the arcades, I would say. I've played so many games. I played quite a lot on Ultra Street Fighter 2 as well, but yeah, Playing Street Fighter 2 Turbo, it's brilliant for me. And not all of them are online. Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, which again was a tournament game, Street Fighter Alpha 3, and Street Fighter Third Strike is enough. It takes me back to playing that stranger in the arcades, only this time I can't see them and I can't wind them up. Well, I probably could wind them up if I sent them messages or, I don't know, started teabagging or something, but yeah, I'm not going to do that. And like I said before, I've never been brilliant at this game. I'm okay, but I'll have times where I'm about to lose and I'll make a comeback. I mean, look at this for instance. I thought I was definitely losing this round. I thought there's no way in hell he's just clobbering me. I'm finished. But I make a comeback. I start trying, I start pushing. I've got nothing to lose. It's a game at the end of the day. And when you see them seeing stars and you think one throw can end it, that's the most satisfying. You come back from nothing. And I advise getting this. Get it if you want to play through these games again. Get it if you want to play online. For you, that may be the most important part. For me, no. I just like to play these arcade perfect games and have them in one physical collection. To play whenever I want. To enter and exit a game whenever I want. Any time of day. And even on the go with the Nintendo Switch. Yep. You've finally done it, Capcom. You've made something I've waited for all my life. I literally have. And I'm enjoying it. I get a feeling and I hope this game sold well. Because I like it being around. Street Fighter is around again. For everyone to play. That's what it feels like anyway. And I'm happy it's here. All that trying for something that's on this small little cart. Or on a disc. Owning them physically. That was an important thing to me. Maybe not to everyone, but yeah, I was so worried that it was going to be digital only. And I couldn't own it as part of my collection. Something I could go into and play whenever I wanted. Now, I tend to repeat myself a lot through making these videos because I've said a lot of this stuff before. But even if there was arcades everywhere, do you really think it'd be the same? Going to a friend's house for a quick bash of Street Fighter? No. You'll get home from work, not go to your friends because you're too tired, too beat up, and have other things to do, like have a shower, have dinner, see friends, going out and having fun. But at least with this you can come home to play them whenever you want. Have a quick online game before bed. You know what I mean? It's there, the arcades in your home, always. Ever since my stomping ground days of the arcades, revisiting them, playing them in other collections to finally having them, the search feels like it's finally over. We got there. Street Fighter wise. Along the way with my collection I feel like we have it all. Not that I still won't look for these games whenever I'm in an arcade, retro gaming wise, it's good to be alive. Most people don't know the differences to the home ports to the arcade versions. Sure, these have been available for many years through emulation, but not many people knew or still don't know how to do that. The only way they'll play games like this are through a retail release. I mean, there's still people out there who still don't have internet. Well, I've rambled on long enough now. I hope you enjoyed the video. I would really like some of your input. Do you have the game? Are you playing it a lot? Are you playing online? What is your favourite? Did you play them back in the day? Let me know some of your stories. I'm actually interested. Not one of them things where people say, oh, let me know in the comments and they don't read. I read them. Seriously, I read every one you write and I'll reply to them. I'm really interested. Hey, this is my thing. So, I really do hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you later. Bye.